Hey, welcome so much. Welcome to everyone. We appreciate you being here this morning for Jubilee Circle on this, not so bright and shiny day, but we're gonna make it that way anyway. So thank you for being here this morning. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The way is dark up ahead of me. The way is dark and I cannot see. What I love the most is a flashlight beam lighting up the way that I cannot see. The way unfolds like an open hand. The way unfolds like I didn't plan. And only in looking back do we understand that the way was true as an open hand. Over trials and trouble I've already come, and the net appeared when I needed one. Yes, the road is dark and the ground is rough. Most time a flashlight has to be enough. We move forward one step at a time, wide-eyed and hopeful, lost in half-line. Mistake by mistake, we all learn to be kind. There's so much to see and to realize. If I could close my mouth and open up my eyes, and the world will tell us more than enough lies, but we'll find our way with a small flashlight. Oh yeah. Little Carrie Newcomer to start us off. Beautiful song. Welcome again to Jubilee Circle. Thank you all so much for being here this morning. We are thankful that you have joined us. And if you need a bulletin, if you're watching on YouTube and you need a bulletin, you can go to jubileecircle.com. And right there on the front page, you'll find one to download, or it's in the description there on the YouTube. So please download that and follow along. And thank you for everybody. I think we have enough bulletins for everybody here. That's a good thing. Today we are beginning our ACHSKNYE mini via, yes, Gesundheit. It stands for Advent, Christmas, Hanukkah, Solstice, Kwanzaa, New Year's, and Epiphany. And we're going to explore the theme of what are you waiting for? The Advent season is usually one of expectant waiting, whether we're waiting for a Savior or Santa Claus or New Year's. In this mini via, we're going to contemplate waiting, and we're going to explore why what we're truly waiting for is that moment that we remember who we are and we awaken. According to A Course in Miracles, all it takes to remove fear and hatred from our lives and enter into the realm of love and forgiveness is a little willingness, or what Jesus in the Bible calls the faith of a mustard seed. That little willingness, it brings God's power rushing into your life. But our ego keeps us from calling in this magnificence into our lives because we're afraid we might have to give up something to get that. Or we're afraid that people might think we're one of them crazy Jesus freaks and just walk away from us, but backing away slowly, hands in the air. If this morning you are afraid to give even a little willingness to invite that healing love of God to change your heart and mind forever, then step back a little with a willingness to be willing. Maybe even a willingness to be willing to be willing. I mean, go back as far as you need to go to find your willingness, to feel comfortable, but know that even in that moment of being willing to be willing, God's already at work. God's already removing the barriers to love that our ego likes to erect and then convinces us is all solid and unmovable. This morning, you're going to get a treat. You're going to hear from this amazing woman named Deb Varn. She is an agape licensed spiritual practitioner, a newly minted one at that. And Deb has relied on a little willingness. She has relied on that faith as small as a mustard seed to bring the overwhelming grandeur of the holy into and through her life. Through her willingness, she's found healing, and she has become an open channel to share God's love wastefully and know that it is not her strength, but the strength of the holy that sustains her in all ways and all times. And this jubilance should be our goal as well, to cultivate even the tiniest bit of willingness to let go of our fear and be taught the power of ultimate love that makes not just us, but the whole world say, oh yeah. Please rise as you're able. And we begin each Jubilee Circle celebration in the same manner. We begin by recognizing the four elements, the fire and the earth and the water and the air. And we burn sage as a reminder that this is a safe and a sacred time. And it's also a time to set our intentions, to set our personal intentions, to be that open channel, to experience that overwhelming love and have so much of it that all we want to do is give it away. But also we set our intention for this world, that we may be that transformation and that love that makes the world say, oh yeah. So let us call the four directions and orient ourselves in this sacred time and space. I invite you to turn and face the east. We rise each morning in faith, Holy One. We have faith that the sun will rise. We walk by faith into the mystery of the day. We give thanks, Holy One, for your abiding presence in every day's journey. Help us to be aware of you in new and inspiring ways this day and every day. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the south. We live in faith, Holy One, that the world will keep spinning, that the stars will keep shining, and that we will continue to breathe deeply and enjoy this amazing world that you have given us. Help us to stop along our journey today, to take time to appreciate this beautiful and growing creation that you have given us as a gift. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the west. We end our days in faith, Holy One. We have faith that the sun will set in the west, the stars rise in the east. Help us also to have faith that we need to let go of anything that holds us back from living the life you have called us to live. Help us to set aside whatever distracts us from being your open channel of love and peace in this world. Quarter turn to the right, and we face the north. We walk by faith and not by sight, Holy One. Help us to live joyfully into the mystery of our lives, taking both joys and sorrows as they come, refusing to judge the world as good or bad, but instead seeing everything as beautiful and infused with your purpose and function. Inspire us, Holy One, to live our lives in awe of all the miracles that take place in each moment around us, that miracle of life, of love, and especially that miracle of grace. And as we turn back toward the center and have a look around the room, it took a lot of faith for everybody to get here today. You had to get up out of bed. You gotta have a little faith in your car to get you here, faith to walk through the door, faith to overcome the natural fear of being in community. Your faith jubilance, it is already great. The Holy is inviting all of us today to take that faith to another level, to a level that sustains us no matter what comes our way, a faith that moves us and the rest of the world so deeply that all we can say when we feel it and know it is, oh yeah. All right, let's get some sage and some hugs. Ooh. Z, you need an extra dose there, baby girl. All right, y'all hang on and we will get started on some music. We've got some music this morning. Jenny, I didn't forget about you. All right, band needs a little extra over there. Musicians always need a little extra. All right, remain standing. We're going to open up with a little Johnny Nash for us this morning. I can see clearly now because that's going to be the rest of the day, right? When all this
wind's coming, it's going to blow the clouds.
That's right, going to blow the clouds away. All right, here we go. We ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. Yes, greet one another, please. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. A bright, bright, sunshiny day. I think I can make it now, the rain is gone. All of the bad feelings have disappeared. Here is the rainbow I've been praying for. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Look all around, there's nothing but blue skies. Look straight ahead, there's nothing but blue skies. I can see clearly now the rain is gone. I can see all obstacles in my way. Gone are the dark clouds that had me blind. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day. Big finish. It's gonna be a bright, bright, sunshiny day.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Y'all may be seated if you're not already. Oh, there you are. All right, so this is the first Sunday in Advent.
Oh, is everybody leaving?
Yeah, the band can be excused. This is the first Sunday in Advent, and so for all you Christmas shoppers, there's 4 weeks until Christmas.
That's good information.
Yeah, just so you know,
It's an HVAC.
it's another way to mark the time. So Advent is a Christian season of anticipating and preparing for the arrival of the Christ child, and the word itself, Advent, is from the Latin adventus, which means coming or arrival, which is itself translated from the Greek parousia, which is used to connote the second coming of Christ. So Advent in the Christian tradition has a 3-part meaning then. It's the preparation of the birth of a literal baby, the birth of the Christ within us, and the return of Christ to earth in the second coming. Now, some of you grew up Baptist like me, and so you have these whole ideas about what the second coming is. Jesus coming in on a mighty steed with the fiery sword. Well, no. According to A Course in Miracles, The second coming is not a literal return of a bodily human named Jesus, but it is the correction of mistakes and the return of sanity. It is a part of the condition that restores the never lost, it says, and reestablishes what is forever and forever true. It is the invitation to God's word to take illusion's place. So in this season, then, we are celebrating the holy innocence that we have never lost, the return of which we need not wait for because it's available in every moment. However, we can spend this time reflecting on whether that place within us is properly prepared to welcome that holy child that wants to be born within us in each moment. So I invite you, Jubilants, as we go through this Advent season, to look within, to prepare your hearts to welcome the Christ child in this season, and of course in every season. It is in that spirit that we light the candles of our Advent wreath. We are celebrating hope, peace, joy, and love as we seek, which is what we seek to cultivate within to make Christ welcome within us. And so this is the first Sunday in Advent, and so we are lighting the hope candle. And when we speak of hope, it is often in a form of what we hope for in the world outside of us, right? We hope for peace, we hope for joy, we hope for love, but hope is limited when we start searching outside of ourselves first. The world will never be as we hope, because out here, it's the ego's playground. The hope of the holy is solely found within. That assurance that everything we hope for will come to pass when we go within and find and touch and live into that peace and joy and love that we all possess. A Course in Miracles tells us from lesson 165, practice today in hope, for hope is indeed justified. Your doubts are meaningless, for God is certain, and the thought of the holy is never absent. Sureness must abide within you who are host to God. So as we light our candle of hope this holiday season, let us remember that our one and true source of hope remains the holy within, because, as A Course assures us, God's love remains beyond our every fear. Oh, yeah. All right, just a few announcements, and we will get on to the really good stuff this morning. Oh, yeah, it'll be great. So coming up next Sunday, December 4th, Sunday, we are going to continue our ACHSKNYE theme of our What Are You Waiting For? And we're going to do it through Poetry Church. So our good friend Al Black is putting together an assortment of poets and musicians who will come and fill our sermon time with poetry and music. So please come for Poetry Church next week. Afterwards today, we've got some potluck food back there. We're going to put our tree up, and we're going to do some ornament making and crafts. So stick around and join us for that. We'll feed you and have a good time. I have a whole list here of things that I'm supposed to say. So if I get them wrong, Beth will correct me. She always does. She keeps me, well, she tries to keep me anyway. So first, I am to apologize for the mess. If you've noticed one, because they did a really good job. If you have not walked into the kitchen area, go see it. Not right now, stay. But in a minute, in a little while, go see it, because Lee and Julie and Steve Miller and Beth were here, and Jessica, yes, you helped too. Yes, you did. She was our elf on the shelf. Well, Julie was actually the elf on the shelf, but they all were here Friday and Saturday, making that room in there look beautiful and functional. So when they brought up the idea, I'm like, what? It looks fine to me. But see, I overlook bad stuff all the time. I'm just like, okay, fine. Looks great to me. What do you mean it's a wreck? So it's
not a Virgo.
no, I'm not. I'm a Cancer. We just see everything like, oh, it's all beautiful. Yes. So the space is still in progress, so it'll all work itself out and be up to Beth's standard of beautiful at some point. So there also is some, the bar is really high. Yeah, right. Some stuff has been stacked by the back door. So in case of an emergency, just be careful around the back door. That was number 2. Number 3, beside the back door, you will find some free folding chairs and a card table. If you are in need of some not so pretty folding chairs and a not so pretty card table, but functional. Please take them with you. Yes, and thanks to everybody for helping with the new kitchen. I got that point. Okay. So, because this year Christmas Day falls on Sunday, we are going to do a Christmas Eve celebration at 7 o'clock here, of course, instead of a Sunday morning. So we will meet at 7 o'clock for a Christmas Eve celebration, and we will not meet on Christmas Day on Sunday. Friday, December 9th, the Columbia Operatic Laboratory is returning with carols and classics. It's an all-ages event, so we'll sing some carols with an operatic and fun twist. Tickets are $10 for adults, $5 for children, and we will provide some refreshments for a donation. And then, of course, Friday, December 16th, the big show. Danielle Howell will be here, and we will do a silent auction for Palmetto Lifeline. I have gotten some great stuff for the auction. I got a guitar in the mail the other day, signed by Edwin McCain. So we have that up, and I've got a poster signed by the Indigo Girls, and I've got a photo signed by Hootie and the Blowfish, and I've got come and bid. And I've got I got a certificate to have like a portrait painted. It's like worth $3,000. I mean, we've got some great stuff. So that's just a very short list of some of the things that we'll have, and all the proceeds from the silent auction will go to Palmetto Lifeline. So tickets are $22, and they're online right now. There's a link in your announcements. And of course, January 6th, we're going to do we're going to celebrate Jubilee's 13th birthday with a drag party. And so that's going to be fun. We're still hammering out all the details, but the drag queens will be here. Yay.
Never heard that in church before.
I've been in a church with drag queens. It's great. And of course, our weekly stuff, Soundy School, every Sunday at 10:30 next door, and our Course in Miracles discussion group Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Did I miss anything? Bob.
Today is Mary's birthday.
Oh, yes.
Today was Keith's birthday.
Today is Mary's birthday, and it was Keith's birthday yesterday. So here we go. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Mary and Keith. Happy birthday to you. And many, many more. Oh, yeah. All right. So this morning, I will introduce her after we do the readings. Okay. Hear these wise and holy words. She's got to be her own dinger and everything this morning.
Take that away from her.
It's the season of bell ringing. From author Joel Goldsmith's book, The Art of Spiritual Healing, our prayer is a peace be still, a silent communion even unto that storm at sea. The Master never prayed that it be dispelled. His only prayer was, be still. Was he addressing the water? No. He was addressing his consciousness and the consciousness of his disciples. Peace be still.
If our consciousness is still, start over. Okay, I'll read faster. Okay. And y'all pay attention this time. From author Joel Goldsmith's book, The Art of Spiritual Healing. Our prayer is a peace be still, a silent communion, even unto that storm at sea. The Master never prayed that it be dispelled. His only prayer was, be still.
Yes.
Was he addressing the water? No. He was addressing his consciousness and the consciousness of his disciples. Peace be still. If our consciousness is still, there are no stormy waters within or without. If our consciousness is still, everything about us takes on the complexion that is stillness. From the Jesus Story, Matthew 17:20.
Thank you.
Truly, I tell you, if you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, move from here to there, and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you. And from Reverend Dr. Michael Bernard Beckwith's book, Spiritual Liberation. Evolved people give thanks for life, for the intelligence within the body temple, within nature, for what most people don't even notice as they navigate through their day. Gratitude is an expression of humility, a recognition that even before we ask, good has been given to us. gratitude also includes respect for what the ego would call bad new, the challenging circumstances that come into our life to wake us up.
These are wise and holy words.
Thank you, Beth.
Thanks be to the holy. All creation is holy word. All creation speaks volumes of the holy. Hallelujah.
Amen.
All right, I want to welcome to the stage and to our lovely Jubilee Circle here, a woman I've known for years. Her name is Deb Varn, and Deb has spent most of her life in the education business.
Yes.
She in elementary school. She's been administration and a principal for 10 years.
Yes.
Was a main principal.
5 and 5.
5 and 5, yeah. 5 and as an associate, and yeah. All right, yeah.
Yes.
But she's also a fantastic and gifted, talented musician as well. And she's been through a lot, and she's got an amazing story to share with us. And I'm so happy and honored to have Deb Varn with us this morning.
Thank you.
All right.
The honor is all mine, and I'm grateful for the opportunity. You know, I taught elementary school, middle school, and high school, but I started out in middle school and was there for 11 years, and they let me out for good behavior. As I say, many are called, but few are chosen. Few people like say yes, I think is what the call is. I want to open us up with an evocation, and we're not evoking a spirit outside of ourselves. We are evoking the spirit that is at the center of our own being. I'm a practitioner of Agape International Spiritual Center, and that's what we do. So I share this with you. So we take a deep breath and drop into our heart space. How grateful I am just to wake up today. Another day on planet Earth to live, move, and have my beingness in God. Grateful for this beloved Jubilee Circle that has been in my life for so many years. For all those that are guided and rise in consciousness through Candace's leadership and the leadership of the board and through the music that is played here. So grateful. And so it's from this place of gratitude that I recognize all that there is God. Everywhere present in his fullness, always giving of itself, never ever withholding. I call it God, I call it good, I call it infinite intelligence and divine wisdom, always available. The grace that sustains and maintains all. I am one with this power, this presence. It is my life, closer than my breath that beats my heart. And as this is true for me, it's true for each and every one of us here in this room, in this space, in YouTube land. All one with God, one with each other, one with all that is. And so it's from this place of oneness that I bless our time together, knowing that it is a holy encounter, a divine appointment, God meeting God into each of us, blessing the musicians, blessing this community, blessing Candace and the board, knowing that it is good, and blessing the message that is shot straight from the mind of God through my heart. And I say thank you and amen. I bring you greetings in the great Southern tradition from Agape International Spiritual Center and Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith and all of the practitioners, and particularly to my love ninja prackmates, as we refer to ourselves. Spreading love and you don't even know you've been hit with it. That's what we do. This first song is a Tasha Cobb song. And when I heard it, it's one of those songs that hits you straight in the heart, because it reminded me of a dream I had about 15 years ago. And it's called God Knows My Name. And in this very lucid dream, I heard God call my name. And I don't know that it was a voice. You know, voice is vibration. But I heard it clear. And it didn't call me Debbie, like my family called me growing up. And it didn't call me Deb either, which most of you know me by. The voice called me Deborah. Deborah. And the truth is, God knows each of our names. We are made in the form of the infinite, the image and likeness. And when God thought of us, He thought of nothing else. God knows my name. God knows my name. Yes, God knows my name. God knows my name. And oh, how God walks with me. And oh, how God talks with me. And oh, how God tells me that I am His own. And God knows my name. God knows my name. God knows my name. God knows my name. And oh, how God comforts me. And oh, how God counsels me. And it still amazes me that I am His friend. And so now I pour out my heart to you. And here in the presence I am made new. No fire can burn me, no battle can turn me, no mountain can block me, 'cause God holds my hand. I'm walking in victory, 'cause the power's within me. No giant can defeat me, 'cause God holds my hand. God holds my hand. God holds my hand. God holds my hand. And yours too. And oh, how God walks with me. And oh, how God talks with me. And oh, how God tells me that I am His own. I invite you to sing it with me from your heart space. God knows my name. Feel that vibration. And God knows my name. And God knows my name. God knows my name. Wow, you guys sound beautiful. Okay, the service is over. That's all we need to know right now. That what it said. That's enough said. You know, that God knows our name. So, here we come to the topic of today. And let me take this off. Do I need to unplug it or can I just take it off? Okay. So, yeah, oh yeah. Oh, Lord. So, here's the deal. It took a long time to get this point in my life. It took a lot of work, a lot of relentlessness in my practice, a lot of starts and stops. And you know, my mom always said a hard head makes a soft behind. And so I was one of those bullheaded kids. Here's the thing, there's nothing more powerful than a made-up mind. When it's pointed in the direction of truth. When we make it a practice. That's what as practitioners do. They practice the presence, and each of us are practitioners because we practice in our relationship with the infinite that is closer than our breath. It's not some old man in the sky doling out punishments and rewards, but closer than our breath. Waiting for the slightest invitation. The Holy Spirit, of Course in Miracles says, waits for the slightest invitation to be of service in our lives so that we can be who we were created to be that unique expression of the divine wherever we are planted. It's like Reverend Michael says, if you don't do you, boo, it won't be done. We can't try to be like anybody else. You know, I heard Pharrell Williams say, if we try to be like this artist or that artist, all will ever be is second best. That we are unique expressions of the infinite that are being called to show up and shine our light that each of us have. We just got to clear the filter. I don't know about you, but my front porch light is dirty. That thing needs to be cleaned so that it can shine and there's no obstruction to that light. And so one of the things that I had to come into agreement with is that I am the creator of my experience. That was a hard one for me. Because at some point I thought, well, this is God's way of teaching me a lesson with cancer. That God called this forth. But that's not the way it is. The truth is, and I don't remember this conversation. I have no recollection of it, but I know that it had to take place on some level. And Dr. Sue Morter refers to it as the bus stop conversation, where we're all waiting for our incarnation into this physical plane, and we're hanging out with our brothers and sisters, our soul groups that we're coming forth with, and we're all talking about our excitement. We're talking about the things that we want to learn and experience, what we want to teach. And that's where it ends, right there, on some level. This is what we want to learn. I think Neil Donald Walsh said, as you wish and I love you are the same thing. So it's like Spirit says, as you wish. We will set that up, whatever because thoughts become things. And you are a creator like the creator. There's the cause, there's the effect, but the cause and the effect, they have the same powers. The only difference between us and God is God created us. We did not create God. Although, as humans, we like to create God in our own image. That's another talk. So, here we are. Boom. I'm in this space. And I was having a great time. And then all of a sudden I ended up with something called kidney cancer. And this was before I consciously began my walk in the spiritual path. And all I could think to do with my carnal egoic mind was, you got X amount of time, how you want to spend it? And so my thought was, let's get up out of here because I'm looking for a bigger, better deal. And so eventually, the dark night of the soul happens, and I find my way to spiritual teachings, the teachings of, Louise Hay and Neil Donald Walsh, and finally A Course in Miracles. And I become steeped in this practice. And when I say steeped, you can read those lessons every day. But until we actually do the work, spend the time, even if it's 5 minutes in the morning, and that becomes the part of our operating system, the filter that we express through, it'll have the power of playthings, willy-nilly. But I had gotten to the point where I was practicing and surrendered to whatever it was that was seeking to emerge in my life. And so when the second experience came, I was spiritually prepared for it. I just surrendered. 75% cancer, what you gonna do? You gonna surrender to Spirit and ask that your will be done. God's will for me is perfect joy and happiness. I know I am seen, heard, and answered. And we got through that cancer-free. Hallelujah. And I thank God every day because I know that prayers were lifted, they were heard, and they were answered. And the question then was, you got to make up your mind if you want to live or die. Because there have been points in my life that I realize now, after that second, third experience, where I felt like the best part of my life was behind me. And some other life, some other relationship that I felt like was the one that got away. And so after I came out of this experience and began to study at Agape International Spiritual Center, really be steeped in truth and principle. And you know, there's only one truth and it's spoken in many different ways. But it's one truth. And so rooting myself in principle that God is the only power, not man whose breath is in his nostril. There's no power in dis-ease. There's no dis-ease in God. That this power and this presence is available. It is within us, without us. That even a stone, as Emma Curtis Hopkins says, is animated with spirit. To be able to steep myself in this truth and practice the art of meditation and affirmative prayer. And this is what clears the static on our radio, so to speak, in our consciousness. You know, remember those old transistor radios? Then you had to keep turning it, and sometimes you had to move it so that you could catch a signal. Well, as we practice meditation, and as we know the truth, we begin to affirm and believe the truth, that static gets cleared. So that we can hear the voice for spirit or the voice for God or your inner being or your inner knower or your inner teacher. You know, God don't care what you call it. Just that we call upon it. And so as we cleared this filter and I was moving into graduating for, you know, from practitioner studies, becoming a licensed practitioner, I was about to take my finals, exams, my counseling exam, and then preparing for the oral panel where you have to answer questions in front of reverends and seasoned practitioners. There's no easy peasy about that. And so I was in preparation for that, and I got the notice that this experience of cancer had snuck back up again. And it kind of caught me off guard because I'm meticulous. I look at my reports like looking to track it, you know, and I missed it. It actually showed up in March. And there's a reason why I didn't catch it. You know, Spirit always knows what it's doing. And I feel like, you know, we know what we need to know when we need to know it. And I am grateful for that. Because I was in the middle of presenting a workshop to the Agape community with 3 other prac mates. And that's a sermon in another story, in another time. So it was perfect that I didn't find out. So when I was sitting in my oncologist's office and the nurse practitioner told me, well, your numbers have snuck up again. You know, it's now showing that, in the marker for multiple myeloma, not that you need to know the details, is the M spike. And so the M spike had popped from not observable to 0.4. And so they said, we're going to need to do a bone marrow biopsy, which is a most barbaric thing I've ever experienced. But in order to know what's actually going on. And so I'll be honest, I spun for a minute. And for me, a minute can be 3 minutes or 3 days. And in some cases, it's been about 3 years. But now it's getting quicker. So I turned it over to the Spirit. And I ask empowering questions. One of the things Reverend Michael teaches is a life visioning process where we ask what questions. Because if I were to go into this and say, why? I'm getting ready to finish this practitioner studies. I'm stepping into this new arena. Why is this happening? That puts me in victim mode. And my power goes, shoo, shoo. Because I'm blaming something outside of myself. So as soon as I'm able, I catch myself. That's what awareness activity, self-awareness is so important, to pay attention to what we're thinking, feeling. And so as soon as I caught myself in that, I sat myself down before I reached out to a soul. And I am close with mighty reverends and mighty practitioners that it's easy to pick up the phone and call. But the spirit of my being is the same spirit in them. And so I sat myself down and I asked the spirit of my being, what is seeking to emerge in, through, and as this experience? Because, I thought I had learned everything I needed to learn the last time. I caught it. I want to live. That's right. And so what was seeking to emerge was an up-leveling of some sort, an awareness of my oneness with God, and the message was, where are you holding back from life? Where are you not giving yourself fully without attachment? As Reverend Cynthia reminded me, my mantra is connected to everything and attached to nothing, but pouring myself out wholeheartedly, because most of my life I held a little back just in case. It was my upbringing. You got to have a little go-to bag, and you got to be ready to go. And so that was still operating on some level. And then the other question, what do you need to release in this experience? And for me, initially it was fear. And then later on, a fear of not enough time. That was my thing. If you ever look at the data on these diseases, like, well, you got this much time for this much time for that, throw that damn book out. I wish they didn't even have it. And so, but eventually I had to release attachment to outcome, and Gina Gibson helped me come to that realization. God bless her. And then what do I have to embody? What quality do I have to embody in order to be okay if this doesn't change? If this is indeed the time for transition, what quality do I need to embody in order to be okay and still deliver my gifts and talents and live life fully with the time that I have? And the quality that I caught was trust. Trust in the presence that is never in absence, closer than my breath, knowing that divine order is at the center of all things, including this experience. And you also ask, what else do I need to know? And that one came about here, here, and here. And it's a matter of listening to that inner voice. Now I want to get a witness. Raise your hand if you have ever felt, caught, or heard something tell you something to do, and you just blew it off and didn't do it. How'd that work for you? Yes, right. So, Spirit is speaking to us always, in our ways, and in a language that we absolutely know and understand, can interpret. Remember, Spirit knows us better than anybody else because it is us. And so Spirit said, call Gina. And so I remember that Gina was studying how do you say? Homeopathy. And so I was going to ask her, about sugar. I thought that was the only thing I thought to ask her. I didn't think to ask her anything else. But, Spirit is smart. And so I called Gina and I said, hey, what do you think about this? And she said, oh, Deb, I thought a couple days ago I'd be hearing from you soon. The Spirit of the living God. Proof positive. I call that a wink. And so Gina and I had conversations and decided to work together on this. Because my doctor was wanting to go full tilt and hit this thing at 20% just as hard as it was when it was at 75%. And something in my spirit said, hold up. We don't have to go to that point. And so I began to work with Gina to uncover beliefs that were latent, stories that I had forgot about, that were on replay in my subconscious. And so through our work together, through tapping, we uncovered things. And I promise you, when you go through practitioner studies, it is walking across the red-hot coals of transformation. There is no subject that they don't cover. And there is always something to uncover and discover. And so I thank God for Gina every day, and I bless her and her family because she helped me to uncover an operating system that was still operating in my consciousness. And Gina even went with me to see my doctor, sat in there with me. Because Doogie Howser, as I lovingly refer to him as, he only knows, what he learned in medical school, and I dare say he hadn't met a Deb Varn yet. And so Gina's in the corner, and I'm telling him, is there any reason why we have to move forward with this? And he said, no, there's not really a sense of urgency. And he looks at Gina and he says, what are you going to do with her? And Gina's like, and so, we agreed to a boost and a little boost in steroids, and my maintenance chemo was clicked up 5 milligrams. And I continued to do this work of being aware of my oneness with God. Reverend Michael taught in a class for us that someone was getting ready to go to jail, and they reached out to him, and he advised that they read the 91st Psalm, which talks about we abide in the shadow of the Almighty, and God gives his angels over to protect us, that we won't even hurt our foot on a stone. That making an awareness of our oneness with God needed to be our full-time job. Again, I caught it, that was mine to do. That was a part of that approach. Working on my consciousness, aligning with truth, and following what I lovingly refer to as listen and then do. I used to tell my students when I'm giving them their instructions before class, I'd explain to them what we were going to do, and then I'd say, do you have any questions? Tell me what I just said. And even little 5-year-olds could tell you what you just said. And so one little boy, he raised his hand, and I had forgot to say, am I clear? And this little boy raised his hand. And I said, yes, Jonathan. He said, we're clear. So the invitation is to listen and then do. And so even as we were progressing through the summer and the numbers had clicked from 4, and I remember it was like a shot in my chest, and I was like, surely I have the faith of a mustard seed. And Gina lovingly, in her Gina voice, said, Deb, I think we're attached to outcome. Because I even had said in our conversations that I wanted to teach from this experience. Because I knew on some level, and I can do that and not be attached to outcome. So I dropped back into that state of being aware of my oneness with God and continuing, regardless of appearances. And it doesn't matter whether you're dealing with a relationship, with a health crisis, with money crisis. It's all the same tools that we use, the same listening skills And so I continued to stay in the pocket. You know, I got an appointment with a holistic medical doctor who was going to provide some, supplements and some care that would also support my body as it healed. And so by the time August got here, it had clicked up to 0.9. And when it was 0.4, 20% of my bone marrow was cancer. Now it's 0.9. So I'm continuing to use the remedies that Gina prescribed, or whatever the correct term is. That stuff is real and it works. And doing the energetic work with Gina, doing the energetic work with Reverend Cynthia, who works with energy codes from Dr. Sue Morter, staying in my spiritual practice and working with my doctor. And I remember telling him that he was the thermometer in this equation. And his response was, "Good God, where do you put me?" And all I could say was, "In the appropriate place." And so we get to the end of August, because he's seeing me once a month, and the numbers dropped from 0.9 to 0.6. With the energetic work, the work in consciousness, the work that I was doing with Gina, and the prayers that were lifted on my behalf, and my own work dropped. It dropped a third. And so I was getting ready to go out to California for the initiation into the practitioner corps. And so my doctor tried to talk me into upping my Revlimid. And I said, "Look, dude, there's no evidence to support that." And I didn't need Gina at that point. So I told him that myself. She's my cheerleader. And so I fly out to California. I meet all of my practitioner peeps. And a part of that process is we all got to spend one-on-one time with Reverend Michael. Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith is an amazing person who knows the truth of who he is and knows the truth of us without a shadow of a doubt. So I was in the room with him, and he gave me my quality and prayed for me around my quality and some other things. And he said, "Deborah, is there anything you want to ask me? Or anything that you would like to say?" And I had thought that perhaps I should ask him to pray for me. And something within my being said, "I am the same spirit that is within Reverend Michael." And so I did not ask him to pray for me, although in my heart of hearts, I know he knew. He saw me. And so the only thing that I could think to say or felt I wanted to say was how grateful I was to be in this moment, to have gone through everything that I went to see the miracles in my own life and the lives of other people, the evidence thereof of my faith of a mustard seed. Because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Once we experience, we can't unexperience it. So I told Reverend Michael just how grateful I was. And I got up and embraced him and told him that I loved him and how grateful I was for him. And he embraced me and said, "I love you, and I am grateful for you." That is worth coming to the planet for. And so I come back home. Doc draws my blood again, and it's gone from 0.6 to 0.3. My doctor says, "Well, we know that this is going to come up again, pop up." And I looked at this man, and I love him, and I respect him. And I said, "Get thee behind me. Do not speak that in my atmosphere." I had the consciousness to be able to rebuke him. And as I left, there are things I wish that I had said, but it wasn't the time, because I wanted him to know the power of our words, that our words bless or curse, they give hope or despair. That while I knew that that was a bald-faced lie, that there's no way he could possibly know that, there are those in his care that would take it and just... And so I talked to Gina about it afterwards, and I was ready the next time I went in there. And, you know, we met, all the numbers looking great, and I said, I need to talk to you. And I said, I know that you say I'm prayed up, you know that, but you need to know what that is. That is affirming the truth. That is not begging and beseeching a God outside of myself. And I know that my physical birth was not my beginning. My physical death is not my end. That's what I mean by being prayed up. I affirm the truth. And what I need you to know is the power of your word. And I don't know, I'm not attached to whether or not he took that and actually implemented it, because they do have rules and guidelines that they have to follow. But my job, the Spirit gave me, was not to determine how he took it. My job was to listen and then do. And that is available to us always, in a language that we absolutely know and understand. And so I will close with sharing this song with you. It's called The Faith of a Mustard Seed. And it came through before the numbers dropped. And even in its coming through, Spirit was giving it to me, because Lord knows I didn't come up with it. And I remember at one point I said, now, Lord, I'm going to need another chord here. And about that... And about that time, my hand slid to the right place, and I was like, thank you. So that's right. So just remember that when Jesus was talking in that stormy sea one day and said, be still, he wasn't talking to the sea. He was talking to his own consciousness, the consciousness of his disciples. They heard, and the seas calmed. And that's what happened with me. Not much more than a grain of sand, yet it's the power to which I stand, the key to limitless possibility, found in the faith of a mustard seed. With the faith of a mustard seed, I can do anything. I can move mountains. I can walk stormy seas. With the faith of a mustard seed. God knows nothing of dis-ease, only perfect wholeness as me. And I intend to see me as God sees, with the faith of a mustard seed. With the faith of a mustard seed, I can heal anything. I can play guitar. Oh, I live and breathe with a faith of a mustard seed. I can do anything. I can move mountains. I can walk stormy seas with a faith of a mustard seed. Surely I have the faith of a mustard seed. Thank you. Thank you, Candace.
Deb, thank you.
Sorry, it's a little, it is what it is.
Let's just give me that back.
Okay.
Everybody, Deb Varn. There's a dry eye in the house over here. Deb Varn, everybody.
Is it under my thing?
I got your clip. All right. We're going to have Deb back real soon, right? All right. Breathe deeply. No one in here struggles with faith, right? Nobody. Got that down? Everybody's an expert at that, right? Faith asks us to move without knowing. Faith asks us to move without attachment. Faith asks us to move in some way, to listen and to do. But preacher, what if I do it wrong? What if what I hear doesn't work out? What if what I hear puts me in a situation that isn't good? You cannot do faith wrong. Wherever you go, whatever you feel led to do is all part of your journey. It's all part of your journey. But preacher, I might be homeless. But preacher, I might go broke. But preacher, I might get in a relationship that's bad for me. It's all your journey. It's all your journey. We all come here, Deb alluded to it, we all come here with a curriculum. We all come here to learn and experience something. And Neil Donald Walsh in The Little Soul in the Sun talks about we have mighty friends who help us, and sometimes they look like our enemies. And sometimes they look like bad things, bad, quote unquote, bad things happening. It's all part of your journey. It's all part of what you're here to learn. It doesn't mean that you won't feel bad. It doesn't mean that you won't get sick. It doesn't mean that you won't have sorrow or pain. But that's all part of the journey. If you know the outcome. This was in a lesson. Beth, help me. If you know the outcome, you can be patient. And the outcome is that it all ends in joy. All of us. We all end in joy. We all end in laughter. And if you're not joyful or laughing right now, it's not the end. It's not the end. Have faith. Detach from the outcome because you know it's going to be joyful. And wherever you are right now, you're right where you're supposed to be. If the only prayer you ever say is thank you, that will be enough. So be grateful wherever you are right now. Even if your ego says, how can I be grateful for this crap? Be grateful. You're right where you're supposed to be. Give thanks. Have faith. Breathe deeply. I would like to point out that, hello, Cece. I would like to point out that Deb has left a few mustard seeds up here and some baggies. If you would like a visual reminder of the faith, the power, the little willingness, how little it really takes, please come and take some mustard seeds with you as you go. I don't know, is this yellow or Dijon? Or is it I tend to know. Do you have any Grey Poupon? All right. To be aware of my dog. Well, her dog. Our dog. Cece is everybody's dog. So as we go forward, one of the things that we do in faith is that we faithfully ask for your support. Here at Jubilee Circle, we are trying to expand our mission. We are trying to reach more people, of course, and so we ask that those who want to see this ministry grow, that you please give generously as you can. Thank you, Jess. And you can go online if you're watching out there, or even here in the building, you can go online to jubileecircle.com, and there is a place there. I'm going to pass it around. There is a place there that you can click, and you can do it online. You can send us a check to Post Office Box 4611, Columbia, South Carolina, 29240. And we thank you so much for your ongoing support. I don't know which camera. Oh, I think I'm over here because that one's pointed that way. All right. I can see that. So for you on the YouTube, we're going to excuse you for this moment, and we will see you again next week. And remember, if the only prayer you ever say your entire life is thank you, it will be enough, because when we are in gratitude, we can have no grievances. We can have no thoughts of anything other than love and joy and peace, which is what we are made of. So go in peace, and we will see you next week. Oh, yeah.